Hello and happy new moon in Leo. We've got a new moon in Leo exact at 16 degrees and 14 minutes of Leo right in the middle of the sign. This new moon is occurring, it's bookended between two Aquarius full moons. So we definitely have to talk about that and how this new moon relates to the double Aquarius full moon. And yeah, this new moon is also occurring on 8/8, August 8th, 2021. It's happening at 9:50 a.m. in the Eastern time zone where I'm at, so definitely adjust for yours. And the new moon is always exciting. New moons are times of renewal. It's a time where we get to refocus our energy in a certain area of our life, in a certain area of our chart. It's a time of just added emphasis to that area. You know, usually around a new moon, we at least have the sun and the moon in that sign, if not Mercury or Venus as well, traveling closely to the sun. So it's just an added emphasis to this area of our life. It's drumming up our focus. It's drumming up our excitement. There may be something coming to a close around the new moon. You know, before a new cycle can begin, very often we're letting go of something. So so we're ready to refocus and get excited about that area of life again. And if you are a patron, you're going to stick around. You're going to get to hear for your sun sign and your rising sign. The video is time-stamped for your convenience. And that will provide a little bit more framework around what this Leo new moon and what these double Aquarius full moons have in store for you this time of year. And if you're not yet a patron, do consider supporting me on Patreon at the Moonrise tier. It's $5 a month and you get the secret new moon video every month. And it's just nice to support, you know, it's nice to feel supported from you as I create all kinds of content that I make for free. So it's really, you know, you're not just getting this video, you're getting everything else that I create. So anyways, what is this new moon about? So Leo season. We think about Leo being seen, being appreciated, being acknowledged, and being able to reciprocate those things in return. You know, Leo is a sign that's all about generosity. It's all about affection. And it's really about being seen and recognized and acknowledged for who you are, for your gifts, for what you came here to do. You know, Leo is ruled by the sun, which represents our divine spark. You know, we all carry within us a spark of the divine. The sun really represents our spirit, what we came here to grow into. You know, the spirit is elevation and growing upward and outward. And so there's a quality of radiation. There's a quality of, not the bad kind, but the good kind. We want to radiate what we're about, radiate our vibe. And of course, generally we want to radiate the good stuff. And so there's a warmth that comes with Leo. So around this Leo new moon, there's an incredible amount of warmth coming in. There's a desire for affection. There's a desire for recognition. There's a desire to be a part of something. And, you know, that really brings in the Aquarius full moons, which is the necessity of being a part of something. You know, we have Saturn in Aquarius. We feel like there's a duty to participate somewhere in something collectively, whether it's this group or that group or the whole. There's definitely something calling for us. And what's interesting about this Leo new moon is that even though the sun is in domicile, and so the sun gets free reign, you know, it's all about shining and expressing yourself authentically. And so maybe there's a new cycle happening here around how you express yourself and around the kind of affection and the kind of attention that you crave. And maybe we have to be the ones to kind of give that as well in order to receive. And but what's interesting though is that this new moon is occurring in the terms of Saturn, and Saturn happens to rule these Aquarius full moons. So we're still not getting away from Saturn. So that's why I really feel like this Leo new moon, even though the sun is in its domicile, you know, we are fresh off in opposition from Saturn. We're in a square to Uranus. It's still having everything to do with the Saturn-Uranus square. And we're still really feeling it. We're still, you know, going from one Saturn ruled lunation into another. And so even though the sun does have domicile and free reign in Leo, it's kind of like Saturn is setting the rules for this. So I like to think about shining as necessity. So it's like we owe it to ourselves, we owe it to the group, we owe it to others to speak our truth, to show up, to have presence. And you know, if you want acknowledgement, you have to put yourself out there. And so that's Saturn also is saying, like, if you want something, you kind of have to make it, you kind of have to put yourself in a position where it can be more available for you. So I really like that. I also think about like the idea that we came here, like we incarnated on this planet with our chart for a reason. And so there is a responsibility we have to our karmic destiny, to our soul's destiny, to our spiritual destiny, to our soul contracts, you know. And then of course there's the free will element too. Like, let's really show up. Let's really show up for this. Let's really embody our chart. There's something going around, I believe Nate Key posted it. It says, live the fuck out of your chart. And I think that's inspired from a conversation from Diana Rose Harper and Sabrina Monarch. But live the fuck out of your chart. Like, that's really what Leo season is wanting us to do. And I think Saturn here is saying, like, yeah, like, you have to. That's what you came here to do. That's what you signed up for. So there is like a sense of necessity. Like, I have to express myself in order to achieve the things that I want, in order to get the accolades that I want and the opportunities that I want. So there is a need to kind of show up for these kinds of things, and to show up for others as well, bringing in the Aquarius element. So, yeah, I mean, the important thing that we want to consider too is the whole axis here. Look at what the Leo Aquarius axis is doing in your chart. And then also, I think the other really important thing to consider is our why, you know. I think that Leo is all about expression for expression's sake. And I think Aquarius, you know, really represents the group or the context, you know, what time period you live in, what the collective zeitgeist is demanding of you, like what is the cultural framework that we're expressing ourselves within and bringing our creative gifts and talents to. So something I was just really thinking a lot about yesterday as I was writing the new moon post is, like thinking about how my self-expression is really shaped by social media. It really is. And I mean, I'm talking about social media because that is a primary construct that we are all working within. But I'm thinking about, you know, what if I wasn't working within social media? Like, what if I wasn't working within that at all? What would my creative expression look like? What other mediums would I take advantage of? What would I be plugging into? What would I be talking about? Would I be reducing a lot of astrological information into shorter bites of information? You know, like, it's just an important, I think, a valuable exercise to think about is our context, you know, is the boundaries that we're working within, the framework. Is it supportive or is it limiting or is it both? Because it can definitely be both. So yeah, there's something too with this Uranus square to the new moon about originality and having a willingness to step outside the box and to try something else. There might be something really brilliant, something really impactful, really insightful coming in the form of awareness or a happening even that is going to kind of facilitate and serve as like a catalyst for this larger shift that's happening. When I say larger shift, the thing is that new moons typically aren't life-changing. But what it does is it invites a considerable amount of focus to this area of our life. And that's kind of up to us, you know. New moons are very often times where we're setting new intentions, perhaps even carving out space for ritual around the new moon or in the few days after. That's when I prefer to do it. So yeah, there is opportunity here for us to take advantage of it, and then it will be major. Okay. So that's a little bit about what I have for the Leo new moon. Again, it's about being able to shine with confidence, but with purpose. You know, what are we showing up for? What's our why? And maybe it's about a duty to ourselves or a duty to the collective kind of thing. So I do think that our individuality right now and what we crave, what we desire, it's all being kind of contained right now by a sense of collective duty, as we try to climb our way out of this pandemic once again. So I think that that's another reason why we have this double Aquarius full moon action going on, is to kind of remind us that it's not so much about us right now. It's more about the collective. So if you are a patron, stick around. If not, I will catch you next time. Thank you so much for joining me today. For more astrology in your world, you can connect with me on Instagram, Twitter, or Patreon at AstroCatherine. You can also book your reading with me. I got all kinds to choose from. Or study astrology with me. Timing and Transits is our predictive module, and it begins in September. You can find out more on my website.